The Cook Islands, could they be the next big rugby league nation? Today, me and Tiger will talk everything Cook Islands, from all their players that could play for the Cook Islands, their Pacific Bowl performances, and even stuff with the World Cup and World Cup qualifiers. So with all that said, let's get into it. So we're going to start off with talking about their Pacific Bowl performance. So Tiger, we're going to start this one off with talking about their first game when they played Papua New Guinea. Would you like to start this off with talking about how they really went on throughout the game?
Yeah, Cook Islands against Papua New Guinea were very, very competitive. They really, even when Papua New Guinea looked like they were going to run away with it, they really kept the margin at arm's length. And, you know, they were within 6 points in the last play, and then they threw an intercept to Jerome Luai from Wish, and unfortunately couldn't get the job done.
Yeah, I feel like when a lot of people go and look at the scoreline, it ended 40-28, and a lot of people just look at it and say the Cook Islands got dominated throughout the game. They were nowhere near on the level of Papua New Guinea, but that wasn't the story in the game. The Cook Islands had a good chance. They put up a very good effort. In the scoreline, it didn't look as close, but it was only 12 points a difference, which is surprising. But what we saw throughout the Pacific Bowl was that they just kept conceding so much. Like, they would score a good amount of points, 28 in the first game, 24 in the second game, but in both games they conceded 40 or more. So I think we'll now go on to the second game of the Pacific Bowl, which was against Fiji. Now, Tiger, I think we can all call you now the Fiji expert after you made a brilliant video, which I'll put in the link in the description because everyone should go watch it. It was a very good video, and you talked in more detail about Fiji. And the Cook Islands went up against a Fiji team. Now, this is not a Fiji team that has, we know Fiji had a possibility of having some amazing players. Obviously, a lot of them don't choose to play for Fiji, but the team is still really good. And they did go on to beat the Cook Islands 44-24. So, Tiger, I'll go over to you. What's your thoughts on the second game?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you take out the first 20 minutes, Cook Islands won. But I think that can also be attributed to Fiji just, taking the foot off the gas, taking it a bit easier because, they had the game won.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think Cook Islands did really well to make the scoreline look a lot more respectable. And, the fact that they scored 24 points when in previous years they'd really get smashed by Fiji is a great sign for them. And hopefully they're more competitive in years to come.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that one. If you just cover up the scores of Papua New Guinea and Fiji, 28 and 24 they scored in both games, which is a very good amount of points scored in a game. It was just disappointing the defense wasn't as good as their attack. Well, you can kind of just tell that by looking at the scoreline, because conceding 40 or more points basically every game in this Pacific Bowl is not the best, but there are promising signs. So we're going to go now on to more of the teams. So Tiger, you're going to take this one over. And really, you can start with going through maybe a few of the NRL players that a lot of people will know, and then possible NRL players who could play for the Cook Islands.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few current and former NRL players. The two major current ones would be KL Iro and Brendan Piakora, but there's also some fringe guys like Ruben Porter, Makahesi Makatoa, Mason Teague, former West Tigers legend Isan Masters. And, next year, Val Holmes is going to play for them, so can have a good outside back there. Back in the day, Joey Manu could have played for them. Jordan Rapana, who's retired now, could have also. But this is a team that was carried by Brad Takarani for so long, and now they don't need him anymore. So, yeah, they've definitely improved a lot for Islands.
Yeah, I can agree. Their team has improved, and with with Valentine Holmes possibly coming over to play for the Cook Islands for next year, that's gonna be amazing, ain't it, for the Cook Islands? I think he's gonna be a real star, which we do see in the Queensland team and the Dragons team as well. You do see him shine like that, and I think he'll do a very similar thing with the Cook Islands. Yeah, so for next year's Pacific Championship, they'll be obviously in the Pacific Bowl still. And obviously actually no, it's not on. The World Cup's on next year. I just remembered that. Next year's World Cup, if they do end up qualifying, that will be something really, really good to go and watch. Okay, so on talking with the World Cups, we're going to talk a little bit more on their most recent World Cup. Now, I don't know if Tiger, you know too much about can remember too much of what they had in the World Cup, but I do have it here on my phone. They went.
I do remember some.
Okay, yeah, that's makes it even better. So they won Group D. They had Tonga, Papua New Guinea, and Wales in their group. And obviously that means they go on to play 3 games. So in that first game, they did play it was against Wales. I've got this all in the wrong order. Okay, first game was against Wales, where they actually got their only win of the World Cup, where they won 18-12.
Yeah.
I feel like you might remember this a bit more than me because I didn't watch the World Cup. It was not something that was shown really internationally. So, do you remember any certain things from this specific game, or just any highlights throughout the Cook Islands World Cup?
Not really. To be honest, I just know that this is their last win. Technically, I know that they lost the game to Tonga 92-10. I saw the highlights pop up. And I was like, oh, what was the result of that? 92-10.
Yeah.
I don't remember the Papua New Guinea game at all, I'll be honest.
Yeah. Okay, I'll put it big on my phone, but those are what I've got down. So they had Wales, which was their only win, and that was because Wales, we know they're more on that rugby union side of things, not really with the league. So Cook Islands expected to take the win there. Then in round 2 was against Papua New Guinea, 32-16, which is actually not so bad. But yeah, it was as you said, in that round 3 game where they played Tonga. It was an important game for them, because they needed to win it to have the possibility of going through to the next round. And for them to go out and just get absolutely hammered 92-10 was just incredible. Even being international overseas, I still remember seeing headlines from this because that's how just massive the scoreline was. Now, I feel like that can also build to stuff how the Cook Islands have improved. Now, I know they lost both their Pacific Bowl games this year, but they did really put an effort up in multiple points in those games. And they've came a long way from losing 92-10 to Tonga, which is very promising.
Yeah. I think they got intercept in the last minute of that game as well to reduce it from 92-4 to 92-10.
Yeah, fair enough. They'll take it. But that is it. That is how we're going to end it off. Thank you so much for Tiger for coming on. This should hopefully be a collab video if I've made sure it is. And make sure to subscribe to both our channels. Make sure to check out Tiger's video on Fiji. It's a brilliant one. I've got a bunch of Pacific Championship stuff which is on the channel as well. So be happy and consider going to check that out. Tiger, anything you want to say before we end this off?
See you later.
Yep. See you guys. Goodbye.